it's important to have like a show like feel like an experience. It's something that someone can't miss out on. Like this is something that it's not just like a regular show. Like there's shows happening all the time, but like why is this show different than everything else? Like why does someone have to be here? Why is someone going to spend $20 and their time and energy to be here? So I think we just always we're just like very well tapped in like the community and like watching bands playing. We're like, this band like kicks ass and this band's really good. Like let's get them like all in one show. So you just kind of knew like how the crowd kind of like how they reacted to certain acts, or like what you just kind of you just want like a good lineup and a good show. So you just kind of put on like a different hat now, and you're now a booker and you're a promoter trying to organize a show that's gonna really like get people like going. And so that's what we were doing. Yeah.
What's going on? Welcome to the New Music Business. I'm your host, Ari Herstand, author of How to Make It in the New Music Business, the book. Third edition is out now. All formats, hardcover, ebook, audiobook, however you consume books, you can find the book. Now, today my guests are Henry Vargas and Jose Corona of the band The Red Pears. Now, this band is a very inspiring story. You'll hear from them. They started from playing backyard concerts in their hometown east of Los Angeles, El Monte, California, all the way to playing Coachella this year, a 7 p.m. slot at Coachella. They're playing the Forum, the arena, the Forum this summer, and they just played the Greek Theater with Interpol. And they have a very inspiring story. They are not TikTok stars. They're not social media stars. They did not blow up by going viral. They built it the old-fashioned way. And you're going to hear from them exactly kind of how they did that, setting up their tours, building their audience, everything like that. It was very inspiring to hear from a band that, is really broken out in the last few years, but not from social media, not from TikTok, and not something, that everyone is falling over themselves in the industry and saying it's the only way. And these guys are here to tell you that it's not the only way. And you'll hear from them. I'm kind of how they built it. And it was nice to hear also that Ari's Take had a little tiny piece of their story, and you'll hear about that as well. And that was very sweet to talk with these guys. You can find the Red Pears everywhere. They got a new record out. You should check out the record, Better Late Than Never. You can find them everywhere you find music, and you can find them on the socials and all of that stuff. Check out a show when they come through town. Their shows seem incredible. I haven't checked them out yet, but I'm going to go hit their Forum show that's coming up in LA. But the videos that I saw, the shows look wild and super fun. You can find all of us that make the show happen at Ari's Take on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Twitter, X, all that stuff. You can find me at Ari Herstand on Instagram if you want to get in touch. Visit aristake.com, get on the email list. That's where you're going to get the most up-to-date, relevant info about the new music business. We hit you new episodes, all that stuff. But if you could just pause this right now, leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. That really helps. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, like, all that stuff. All right, let's kick into the show. The Red Pears, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having us, Ari.
What's
Good
up?
to be here.
Yo.
Yeah. Hey, Henry. Hey, Jose. So you're fresh off of Coachella. I'm curious. I'd love to hear how that went. First off, congrats on that. I know it was your second time there, but tell me how it went and tell me kind of the difference between what it was like performing this time versus, I guess, 5 years ago was your first time?
Yeah. First of all, thank you. That means a lot. I think that it's really cool to be playing such a big stage, especially coming from coming from a small city like El Monte. I think like the news about it just kind of resonates more so. So it's and so it was very nice just to kind of like be able to represent who you are and where you're coming from, and everyone's so proud of you that you're playing such a big platform, such a mainstream platform like Coachella. I think doing it the second time just felt a lot smoother. The first time, first time, 2018, 2019.
2019, I think I read somewhere.
You're kind of more nervous. It's like, we're playing like at 12 p.m. or something. Like the first legit the first band
people
playing.
Are still groggy from the night before, barely woken up, trickling in. Yeah.
The first band. So I remember it was just a very like, we still had people there supporting us, but it was, like not, it wasn't what it was this time around. We were playing like at 7 p.m. Like we had like a really good slot. And so yeah, I think you just felt that like in a sense that respect or acknowledgement of your work throughout the years, that they rewarded you with the time slot, that they trusted you this time, or like they helped you out more this time around. So I think that was really nice to you could just feel the progression you made throughout those years.
That's cool. It's kind of like it's like the midpoint bump of this of like a chapter book or something like that. I was saying, like, you open the first cover and it's that entrance into the first Coachella. I mean, it must have been pretty wild even, back then, just a few years into the project, getting asked to play Coachella, this being like, being I wouldn't call it like a local hometown festival, but as like, the biggest festival in California, and being kind of California guys, to get that nod from a festival that is just so renowned here. Did you feel kind of that first time around that this was like an arrival of sorts, or did this time, when you kind of got this great slot and had more people that were there for you, did this feel more did you feel kind of more present in this slot?
Yeah, I feel like for the first time, it was never like, I guess, like a dream or like an expectation we had, Henry and I, that we were gonna play Coachella, because it just seemed very like out of what we're doing. We're doing more like garage rock, and it's like it just feels like you're just like you don't belong in this kind of festival, and that was cool with us. We were like, that's like Coachella, and then so that surprise of like being offered that was a very big deal. Like that's such a big thing. So that was, we're very like grateful for that opportunity for the first one, and to come back, do it again, and just you could feel like you were just trusted more. There's more like, in a way, good pressure. People are now talking about you. Oh, like the Red Pears are playing Coachella this, and there's more buzz about it this time around than the last time. So I feel like there's more expectations in a sense, but I feel like we just kind of did what we've always been doing. So I don't think
Nice.
I think the first weekend is always a bit harder, because you're like breaking things in with the staff there, with like everything. The second weekend there, you're just chilling. It's more like you're more relaxed. Because you kind of broken in already. Yeah.
I saw this time you were played as a 5-piece, right, at Coachella this time.
Yeah.
Is that how you've been touring? Because of course the kind of the band is a 3-piece, but I know you've been adding members kind of over the years and expanding that. Was that a Coachella thing, or have you really been settling into this 5-piece lineup?
I feel like the band's is still like a 2-piece. When it comes to the writing, it's Jose and I.
Sure.
Like our friend Patrick does help us out a lot, and I think he kind of grew into
Patrick Juarez.
Juarez. Yeah, he grew into like helping us out with touring, actually, like getting our foot out and doing all these big like tours. He was a part of it from like the beginning. I think we wouldn't be who we are as a band without Patrick in the picture. But I think with the 5-piece, it just kind of happened. Our friend Luis Martinez, who does a lot of the touring, a lot of the website, a lot of the graphic designs. I mean, he does it all. He's a tour manager, and he also performs with us in the band. It kind of just brought up with like some songs that needed a bass. Patrick would go on guitar, and then Luis would join on bass. But then with this new album, it was like 2 guitars. So then our friend Albert, who was supposed to go on tour with us as a guitar tech, ended up learning the songs for some of the shows. And like there was some empty shows that only had like 30 to 60 people. And I was like, hey, you want to just do the set with us? And it was just like me taking up on vocals and him playing guitar, and just honestly just having fun on the road. And as the shows kind of began, like the tour kind of happened and the shows like were progressing, he managed to learn the whole set for some of those shows. And I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. I'm down to have you as like guitar. Yeah.
How did it feel for you, Henry, as kind of, not playing guitar and just singing and just having that? It's got to be a different feeling. How did that feel for you? And
honestly, vocal wise, it feels easier because you could just focus on one thing and like deliver it.
Sure.
When you're playing guitar and singing, you kind of want to be good at both things. So it kind of, yeah, I think I like it, but we did have a show recently in San Antonio. We played at this fiesta. It was called like Semana Alegre. They had like a festival, and that was kind of fun because I want to say I was forced, but I had to play guitar because Albert has his own band too, and he already had committed to a show prior to us even getting the festival. And yeah, it just kind of felt nice just playing with the guys again. Like it was just us three. It was just Patrick, Jose, and I. Yeah, so that was cool.
Nice. Cool. Yeah, and I saw, I know a big part of your live experience, your live show. There's the fans go hard. I was looking at some pit footage, some body surfing footage. So that was cool. That took me back to kind of like high school and my punk era, the days, where the pit just rages. That's nice. So do you do you find is like, as you are growing and as your crowds are expanding, is that grunge, that punk energy kind of still part of the live experience? And are your fans still like hopping up on stage and body surfing and going hard in the pit?
Yeah, I'd say so. There's a mix, because I think Henry and I have a wide variety of influences we have, from like slow songs, and punk songs, and like metal, and like,
Right.
So I feel like there's a mixture. There's for sure people that want to just chill in the back, or like just chill into the songs. People that want to be up in the front and like causing havoc, So I feel like it's just nice. It's just nice that I feel like that's like who Henry and I are. I remember watching like Bad Brains play at CBGB, and like it was just it's so bad. It was it was so crazy. And I was thinking like how cool that was, and how cool it would be to have that kind of energy. That just very like everyone's singing along, his body's flying. Like I don't know, something about it just seems so freeing and so liberating, and it just seems like or even like Nirvana, seeing like Dave Grohl play and seeing just how like the energy that the band is putting out. It's not even about playing something fast. It's just playing something with like your energy, and you're going like all out in what you're playing. And I think people just respond to that. I think it's very, very, very true of like a live setting. Like there's times where you're just kind of transferring energy with the people. You're like giving energy, they're giving it back, and you give more, and they're giving that back. So and I think it's always cooler when you see a band get into their music, and then kind of like makes you feel like you can get into what's going on. I feel like when you see somebody having fun and like kind of going all out, you kind of feel that like restriction or kind of go away, and you kind of feel freer to kind of like accompany them in that energy. So yeah, I feel like we're still playing like early songs, like early fast songs. We're still playing like newer slow songs. So I feel like that energy will hopefully never leave. Like we'll always have the energy at our live shows.
Love it. Let's talk about the new record. Better Late Than Never. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It just came out. And tell me about the process of recording this, and how did it vary from, I guess, writing it and recording it versus some of your previous records?
Well, we started off with the first two records recording in my garage. My parents had a garage. Like they run a daycare, and that garage used to be part of like the daycare, and then like they kind of just like left it for us to kind of do our own thing with the garage. And so
nice.
But the first two records were done with like a USB mic that Henry had. This like Blue Snowball.
Oh shit!
So
okay.
It wasn't professional, like deemed in industry, like
shout out to a Snowball or something or whatever it was,
like at all. Like we were just like we kind of didn't know because we kind of didn't grow up like in that like I don't know, like we never had an uncle. Our parents aren't musicians. Like nobody's kind of guiding you on how to do things. So you're just kind of like your friend has a recording device, like you both play music, you just kind of go, and I think over time and over like learning just releasing music and writing music, you kind of, and being more involved in the industry, I guess you kind of know the flow of things and how things work. And so for the last album, we built like a more of a legit studio with help from our friend Calvin Hernandez, who's like been helping us out with like our live sound and like production at Coachella. That was like him, like handling that, him and his team, like Lucia and Mikey. Shout out to them, yeah. And he helped us build this studio. He's like, we should get these mics, and here are the prices, and what do you think about this? And we were kind of like, yeah, like just tell us, like we'll like cover the finances, like don't worry about like how much it costs. Like we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. Yeah. We just want to build something that's good and that it's gonna serve our sound well, you know. And we kind of unlocked this whole other like skill and craft that we weren't as into it, and that's like the recording aspect of things, like the microphones, microphone placement, like all like what instrument you're using, what guitar you're using, like this whole like separate thing from writing the music. They're two different things, writing and recording music. And Henry and I were always kind of just used to writing the music and recording it however it comes out, you know. But I feel like we've kind of been learning how important production is, and it's not just about having like the clean and good production, it's about having like the right production for the song, you know. Like it's not just a matter of, it's not just a matter of putting a mic somewhere and record it and you're done. It's all this like, you know, like what kind of mic you're using, like where are you placing the mic, what kind of editing, you know, like all these little things. And especially for drums, like for me it was really hard because I was like having to like having a certain like sound in mind and just trying to figure it out with Calvin. And Calvin, I'm like, I'm kind of getting this sound, but I want this and I want that, but I'm getting this. So it was a lot of like figuring out the room of the garage and like using different microphones, different preamps, different settings, you know, on the preamp. Yeah, all these things, like the location of like the overhead, like farther away, closer. What if I do this? What if I mic up the toms? What if I don't? So all of these like little like nuances, and I feel like. But that's like us, you know. I feel like we had done records before, like at other places, where it was more rushed. You know, you're just kind of like, you have a few days, you kind of need to like figure shit out, like then and there. And at times you kind of just feel that like, well, like it is what it is because we're out of time, you know. So I think of this last record, it was nice to have more control on the production side of it. And even then, we're still learning. Even then, we, you know, like hearing those songs back, just catching little things, and you're like, oh, and next time I'm gonna change that, or next time I'm gonna do this better. So I feel like just improving on that aspect of music, you know, on the production and recording side of it. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's kind of a trade-off where you purchase all of this gear, so now you own it. But now you also have to learn it, and you're kind of responsible for the upkeep and all of that. And so there's a big investment up front versus going to a studio where they have all of it, it's dialed in. But like you said, you can feel rushed, and because you're on the clock when you go to a studio. Did you find this time, because you had unlimited time essentially and could experiment, did it help your creativity, or would you say at times maybe you got to overthinking it? I mean, the end product sounds great, and the tones, you know, they speak for themselves, and you really dialed into something really cool. But were there times throughout the process where you might have felt like you were going around in circles because there was no clock and there was nothing kind of like pushing you to the deadline?
Yeah, I'd say both. It's good to also have a deadline and be on the clock. You know, it's good to because there's so many endless possibilities with this stuff. So I feel like it's good to have like maybe give yourself a deadline, or have like us give us a deadline, like by this time we should be done, or your team giving you like, hey, you want it out by this time. So, but it was also nice just to kind of like be able to create and record uniquely. I feel like. After all, like I think the feeling I had was, you know, regardless of like if this goes well or doesn't go well, like I think at the very least you could say is that this is like different. Like I'm not hearing music recorded this way. I'm not hearing songs this way, or around me at least, you know. So at the very least, it's like different, and it's like our personal sound, our personal emotions and ideas. And I think that's like the least you could do with your art is just give it your identity, you know, and whatever that is. And it's just nice when something just sounds different, you know. It's just refreshing to hear.
I just wanted to add that it was actually our friend Luis who would keep us on check about like, hey, you guys said you're gonna have a song by this date, and like you guys need to finish it up already. So it was him who would tell us like, you guys have to already kind of lock things in and like deliver them at this date. But the writing process for this one was a bit different too, though. A lot of the things like Jose and I, it's like when we write those songs, we write them together. I feel like for this one, I had to bring out stuff that I had recorded like prior and like GarageBand and stuff like that. Like things that I was doing that during the pandemic, like by myself, because I wasn't able to go to Jose's house because his family runs a daycare and it was a whole like COVID thing. And so it was just like not seeing each other, and during that time just trying to write music like in my room. And when the time just came for like a new album or new stuff, I was like, I have these songs that kind of been working on, like I don't know if you like any of them, but we could pick them out. Yeah.
That's great. So and you guys are you completely independent? Do you have a label that you're working with, or this is
we're working with Cosmica artists, which are also independent, but at the moment, it's just Jose and I. Yeah, we did this thing. Nice. Daycare Records. Shout out you though, honestly. Shout out Ari for the articles. That thing honestly helped a lot. Yeah.
No, yeah, like we're talking about that a lot, Henry and I. Just like Ari doesn't even know like the help he's given us. You know, like,
oh no like shit. Oh, that's so cool to hear.
That's why we want to do this podcast. Such a big impact. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Like about just like how to like be an artist and be a sustainable artist. You know, I remember you talking about a lot about like college shows and how they pay and this and that and all these little like things and like BMI, setting up your royalties. So you know, like it was cool because like
DistroKid, CD Baby.
Right.
DistroKid was that RE2 DistroKid?
Yeah, that was him. He had a thing about like it was three of them. He's like, what's the difference between Soundcore, I want to say, CD Baby, and DistroKid? And he opted into I think DistroKid. It was the one that he said.
It would be like
you're like that big brother that we needed during that time, honestly.
Oh, guys, we'd
be having articles and sending them back and forth to one another, like and like highlighting stuff, like like check this out, like this is what Ari said. I'm like, oh yeah, let's do that. So yeah, so really like you were that person, man, and I'm sure you were that person for a lot of other artists that like are kind of doing music and they want to do it as a career and they want to like have some kind of like longevity in it, and that comes to like money, and that comes down to like finances. But you're a person that really like helped out because we didn't have like I was saying like uncles, we don't have siblings, we don't have parents who like know anything about art and like and money. You know, like a lot of our families like just like working jobs to get by, or like they couldn't afford to even have like a pursuit of their dream. You know, like they just didn't. So I feel like we're the ones kind of setting that new way in our and I guess families. You know, where they now have an uncle or a brother or a son that's like in the industry and making money and like living off like art. You know, so but like I think that goes back to you. Like you kind of like setting those notes and those articles, and you didn't have to. You know, that was all you trying to be helpful to other artists. So thank you all, Ari, because that's like honestly like that's like it helped a lot.
Guys, I really appreciate that, but it's nice to hear because that is exactly why I did it, because you know, I was having to learn stuff the hard way myself, and I didn't similarly. My parents are not in music. I don't have family in music, and just kind of figuring it out. And it was like, you know, I believe that we're all kind of in this crazy industry together, and we can all learn from each other, and just like sharing the knowledge and whatever we know, we should just spread it around. And so I'm glad that it was useful and helpful. I want to touch on that, like what you said of just like, because it is not necessarily as accepted in your community, or you don't have as many role models that have followed their dreams. Kind of what gave you the confidence, and how did kind of early on, how did you persevere through, I'm assuming a lot of your friends and family that may not have been as supportive early on, understanding what you were doing, and especially as you get older and just like they maybe don't quite grasp what it is you're doing. How did you communicate that, and more so like how did you continue to make it work?
I think just having each other, honestly. I think it didn't matter what our family thought about. I think Jose and I had like a similar, we still do, we had a similar dream, similar goals, and we were going to get there no matter what. And it was like just us, honestly. That's why I'm like, it's still just us who write the music. I feel like we are the ones that understand what we're trying to come across with the sound that we're creating. And I feel like the only ones that really understand like why we do it. Like when we are in the studio or in his garage and we're looking at each other, it's like we don't even have to speak. You could just like look at each other and you know what to do with certain style of music. But yeah, I think that got us, what got us here is like Jose being devoted and wanting this, and also me wanting the same thing. Like, didn't matter if I had to work like overnight, I was still gonna be at the show. Like I'll still be at the show, then I had to work. Like yeah.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought. It was having Henry, having one another, that you kind of found someone as crazy as you, or even crazier, you know, to kind of like pursue these ambitions and dreams that like no one around you is wanting to do so. You know, people either couldn't, or people like wanted to but didn't know what that meant. You know, like maybe they had the like they wanted to have that career, but they didn't really devote themselves. They didn't really push themselves, or they just couldn't. You know, they had to go work, help their families out. And also our parents are very, very supportive. You know, our parents never like discouraged us from wanting to do music. You know, they always did what they could to like give us a guitar, give us like a piece of the drum set. You know, I was like, I remember asking my dad like for something like every month or every birthday, can I get a new pair of cymbals? You know, like you know, so just slowly like your parents doing what they can to help support you, you know, and just having that the support from your parents, and finding someone. It's definitely finding someone like Henry who you just knew you weren't doing it alone, and you could just say, Henry, like I want to do this and that, and him just saying, yeah, me too, let's go do it. Yeah.
Right.
Just wanted to add that I think like at least for me, like my parents were supportive, but at the same time, being first generation, they're like, you need something that's stability, you know? Like, I think they still support you, but they want you also to carry your own weight financially, because at the end of the day, it's like, they don't know if this is going to work out or not. And they just kind of want you to have like a career or something set. That's the reason why I was also like pushed to do like a CNA course, like so that I have a career, and that I kind of give them an ease, like, okay, I'm working at a hospital now and I could do music, right? Yeah.
One for you, one for me.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe 2018. No, when we went on tour at Wunderbar. Like I remember seeing their email, just like out of 2019 at Wunderbar, and it was like a 2-week tour, like the west coast, and like a show in Canada. And I remember being telling my mom, like I have this tour, like I gotta drop out of school. You know, like what do you want me to do? You know, like there's no point in going to school now. I'm gonna miss like a month or like 2 weeks. You know, I might as well just stop going to school. And so then that was kind of the excuse. Yeah, like, you know, like I'm gonna leave school and work, but like this is why. Yeah, and then like after that, the Coachella thing rolled in, and we had another tour and something else that year. So I think that was like when the ball got rolling, and I think our families were kind of like, oh, okay, like they're doing something with their music, like they're not just messing around. Yeah.
How did you get it started? I mean, were you booking shows on your own? Did you have a manager or an agent, or how did you kind of build up, I guess, your audience locally, nationally, all of that?
Yeah, it was us. It was just going to, like, I remember going on like Facebook forums, going to like Twitter, like social media, just like reading, just like finding like shows, and then just asking like somebody, hey, like how that's always that thing of like, let's like you had to put on like a different hat, you know, because a lot of bands would be like, hey, like can my band play, or hey, what I have to do to like play or whatever, right? And I'd always hear that, and then just always find it so off-putting, just someone charging you in, being like, hey, let me play. You know, I just never liked that. So I was always like, you know, you got to ask a different way. So I think we would never ask like, hey, like we're a band, can we play? We'd always ask like, hey, like I see you organize shows here. Like I also want to organize a show here if possible. You know, I have some bands in mind, and I want to do like an event here. And you just put yourself as part of the event, you know, with like other friends. So I feel like we always came about things respectfully and understood that like we're all trying to do the same thing, but you know, there's a way to ask for things, and there's a way to go about things. And we also did a lot of backyard shows, a lot of like houses like Fontana, Riverside, Pomona, like around here. Like where we would sometimes bring our PA, like just like speakers and like our mixer, and that was like our way to get into the show because people didn't have one. So, or we would just be like, hey, like, well, can we play? We'll bring our PA, and they would open up for the show and stay for the whole show to get our PA back.
Yeah, it would be like, hey, do you guys have a PA? It'll start like that. Hey, do you guys have a PA? And then they'd be like, no, like we could provide one. Like, let us open. Like, let us open the show. And I'll be like, that's how it would be. Yeah. And then for locally, I think what really helped us out a lot was passing out things for free. Just handing out CDs, handing out shirts. We gave everything for free. We'd go to the LA. There's a spot called Los Callejones, which is like the alleys, and they sell you like $1 a shirt. We get like a bunch. We get like 100 shirts, $100, and then go to his house and we'll screen print them. You know, burn them using a construction light, and then take them to the next backyard show and just toss them out for free. Like, we don't know what sizes we got. It's like whatever we have in this trash bag, like you're more than welcome to get.
Yeah, just always like, just I think just that thing too of like, I don't know if it might have been you too, Ari, that had like something about like how to stand out as a band, you know, how to make someone remember you, because you catch a band, you watch an artist, but you kind of just move on, and I think the point is to like them to experience what you're doing, but to kind of remember it, and like, how can you make someone remember it, you know? So I'd always just pass out stickers, like a kind of like a business card and a pin, you know, like, hey, like, here's a shirt if you want it, like it's cheap but it's free, you know. And I think someone just takes that home, and they just see it like in their car, in their room, and they just always remember like, oh, this band, you know, these guys are really chill. And that's a lot more than other artists and bands. More, you know, like they weren't leaving that imprint that we were. Yeah.
That's great. What was kind of the first time that you realized that you were starting to build a fan base? Was there a show that was like your first ticketed show, maybe in town, where you hadn't really sold tickets before because you were playing so many house concerts and free stuff, and then you're like, oh wow, we can actually sell tickets. This is actually working. We're building a fan base.
Damn, I was actually gonna say, I think our first show at an open mic, it was weird. Like, we did an open mic, and then I don't know where we finished it as a 2-piece, and they asked for our signatures. Like, can you guys sign those like demos? I think out there we're like, what the? This is crazy, because that was our first show, and we're like, I guess we have something like special going on with this. I want to say like that was the first time I was kind of like thrown back by it. I was like, whoa, this is cool. This is crazy.
Yeah, especially being in bands before, you know, like just never having that reception. You know, like people were like, hey, like, can you sign this demo? You guess you're gonna be famous one day, this and that. And we're just kind of like it was just kind of we're caught off guard, you know. But like people were very generous and very nice, and just very like, just very very nice about like seeing us play. Yeah.
So that day was funny too, because I was working night shifts and I woke up late. I think we were supposed to play third in the open mic, but they ended up putting us last because I woke up late and we had to like take the whole gear. And yeah, it was just, we basically were the last talent, I guess, open mic talent. Yeah.
Oh wow. Did and then tell me about your first tour. Was that something that you set up on your own? Did you join forces with another band? Did you have a booking agent? Kind of how did you start touring?
We would do a lot of like just one-off shows. We would like have friends or know people and like in Texas, and we'd just go to Texas and come back. And we would like rent a car from like, what was it, Turo? To, you know, like get like a van, you know, not just like a regular car, and then like just drive out for with that one show. Like we did stuff in San Francisco, like Phoenix. We did like a few in Texas. And that's all we would do. Like just leave Thursday, Friday, come back Sunday, Monday. You know, like because that's all we had, and it was like, you know, it's better to do. We didn't have like a routing of like 10 shows or whatever. Just that one show over here, and like what else are we gonna do? You know, it's like this show or nothing. So we'd go drive out and drive back home.
I think too the connections that we made. I don't even know. There was this band called Red Tank. I mean, they're still around, but they were like asking us to play a show in California, and we were like, sure. We had them on our, I think it was like an EP release show that we did at someone's backyard house, and then we talked to them about like, is there any independent venues that we could reach out to, and they were like, oh, there's this place called the Trunk Space, and then we reached out to them, and yeah, they responded, and that's how we started booking our own shows too, like out of state. Was just finding bands and then getting connected with them, and then us giving them like our recommendations, like the Smell in LA, for instance, kind of had the same. The Trunk Space has the same vibe as a Smell. It's like nonprofit. It's all like a lot of the percentages goes towards the bands, and that's how we kind of got connected. And then selling out the Smell, it's like you reach out to the Echo, and like you start building up like from there. Like it's like little ladders that we were climbing up.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's like you just kind of do your thing, and people kind of just notice. I think that's how it always like things. Just you just kind of stick to your thing. And I guess the thing we didn't know was like how important tickets are, how important a camp room is. We're just playing backyard shows for like 300 people, and like, but like it didn't count, I guess, because nobody bought.
Right.
Like it didn't count. But we're playing these big wild shows, and we kind of hit us. We were like, we need to move this to like a venue where it's gonna count. So that's where we started doing stuff at the Smell. Like shout out to Jim Smith and stuff at the Echo with shout out to Liz over there. She used to be there, but yeah, it's just like it kind of dawned on us like, hey, like we're doing something here. We need to do it in a way where people are gonna pay attention, because like it doesn't count apparently if you do like a house show to like 400 kids. It's like you gotta do it like at a venue where it's like ticketed and promoted and this and that. So I think that's where we kind of started making that like those changes. But yeah, like as you were saying, like you're just kind of doing shit on the fly. You're making mistakes. Like we're playing shows like every week. Like twice a day. Like playing the Smell, then playing a show like at Riverside the next day. Like you're just playing. So I feel like once you kind of started getting the hang of how to navigate it better, how you're kind of like selling, like how you're selling an event now. You're selling this show as an event, and how to like just like maximize like the results. I think things kind of started changing for us. Yeah.
Tell me more about that, selling a show as an event. What do you mean by that?
I think this could have been you too. It could have been something you said. Maybe like it's important to have like a show like feel like an experience. It's something that someone can't miss out on. Like this is something that it's not just like a regular show. Like there's shows happening all the time, but like why is this show different than everything else? Like why does someone have to be here? Why is someone going to spend $20 and their time and energy to be here? So I think we just always we're just like very well tapped in like the community, and like watching bands playing. We're like, this band like kicks ass and this band's really good. Like let's get them like all in one show. So you just kind of knew like how the crowd kind of like how they reacted to certain acts, or like what you just kind of use one like a good lineup and a good show. So you just kind of put on like a different hat now, and you're now a booker and you're a promoter trying to organize a show that's gonna really like get people like going. And so that's what we were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like, yeah, I felt like we were like a band / promoter. Like we were just kind of watching every band. Like we knew everyone that was already like in the scene, and kind of just seeing like what's good, like to make a good show, like what would be a good lineup. Yeah, that's gonna make people from the Inland Empire want to make a drive all the way to LA just to catch like this. Right. Yeah, cause that's a long drive. Right. So
yeah, we're just giving it like titles, having like not things, but just kind of making it like a special event. This is like a celebration of maybe like a song release or an album release, and like like just kind of also like having like a like a Halloween show or something like that, or like just kind of making it just more so like important and more so just different, like something out of the ordinary.
Yeah. Would you say that you built your fan base live by playing shows, or were you finding growth and success online at the same time?
I want to say it was more, by word of mouth, like live. I want to say that the people we are too, like after a set, we greet them, we talk to them. Like if we still do it to this like day, we do like the Will Turn or the Noble. We try to go out of our way before the show even starts to thank people for being there, for taking their time to like other day to actually like go to our one of our shows. I think that's the reason why I want to say that helped us out, and the reason why we stood out compared to the other bands that were doing it. Now it comes to the point where it gets word of mouth, where there's people like that are in like San Francisco and they recommend this to their friends like in Florida, or it's like things like that. Like you should meet them, like go up to them, like they're nice, and then it's kind of like them getting that same reception, like, oh, like you guys are nice, exactly what they said you guys are gonna be. You guys are, and I think we're never gonna change. Like that's how we are.
Yeah, I think we just try to like say as much thanks as possible. Obviously, like we can't thank everybody and like be there. It's so much time, but I feel like that's just the way we were kind of raised. Especially when you don't have that at all. Like like we didn't grow up with any of that, and I think we just always were told by our parents just to be thankful of everything that you have and be very courteous and be very respectful. So I feel like somebody spending money, driving out hours, like planning out for a month this whole thing. I think the least you could do is like say thank you, or shake their hand, give them a hug, or and just any kind of recognition to let them know that you appreciate it. And I feel like for some reason, and it's just the way it's always been. A lot of bands, a lot of artists just kind of don't. I feel like a lot of people just see people as like dollar signs. They're just here they're just a ticket. They're just like here paying my bills. Like I don't really care who's here. I don't really care like whatever. I'm just here to play, and they're buying the ticket. But I feel like when you don't have that at all, like we came from like playing. We played a show, dude, in Redlands. Where like the only person that was there was a store owner. Yeah, and I think like this band plays and it's a full crowd and it's like their friends and family, and then you go up and it's just one guy there, and he's there, but like he's forced to be there. He has to be.
Been there.
He has to be
It's
there.
called it was called Cat's Alley. Shout out the owner.
So like I think also until you have experiences like that, like that's when shit really like that's when you really take it like and we're very grateful for those experiences because those are the ones that really humble you, and that you know what it's like to play to an empty room. And now that you have a full room, you just want to show your appreciation for that,
Yeah, I wanted to add to like this past tour that we did last year. There was actually a good amount of people that were telling us or coming up to us that they wish like they were still around, like their family members were still around to see our show because they had bought tickets for it. And I think if we didn't do what we do, like greet them and talk to them, I think we would have never like known that. And there was a couple of shows where that was happening, and it was a very emotional thing because like we were very fortunate to be able to, kind of like them spending their time with us spending their like our time with them, and at the same time is like you're going out of your way and they're going out of the way to see you guys, and just be able to have that conversation, even though it's not easy, but knowing that no matter what, like you really appreciate like them, and whatever you could do, like you're there to help too. Like if there's anything that they need, like don't feel bad to reach out. Like we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, we hear like a lot of like crazy stories of like just like how things came about, or like the drive they had to take, or like a family member or a loss they've had, and the connection with of that and with their music, and it's just very that just I think encourages us more. I think it really hits you like, oh shit, this is really important. And sometimes when you're kind of down, it's a roller coaster to do this so long. You have your ups and downs, and sometimes when you're down and you're not having your best day, and you hear like a story like that, you just kind of shake out of it, and you're like, man, like I gotta do this. I gotta do this like better, because it's like someone like this it means a lot to them. And even though maybe like you kind of sometimes how do you say it, like you kind of like you're doing it not just for yourself now, you're doing it for it's so much bigger. Like the meaning is so much bigger now than just playing for yourself. There's so many people that it's impacted, and that just gives you like strength. It just gives you like, it reminds me of like, I don't know if you watch Dragon Ball Z, but like Goku doing like a spirit bomb, and he's getting their energy from like all of the people of the world helping him build this like big energy. But it's kind of like that, it's like you need the people, and like their energy, and it makes things just better when you're not just doing it for yourself.
Yeah, no, I mean it's really well put, and it's kind of like you might write songs initially for yourself because they're meaningful to you, and you might be in the studio making a record that you're going to be proud of, that feels really good to you. But as soon as you put it out there, it's no longer yours, and you have no control on how people are going to respond to that music. And the same with a show. You might love performing live. I mean, we all do. That's kind of why we get into it. But, you never know how that's going to impact somebody in that space, and that's kind of out of your control. And so, then you guys have that understanding and recognition where it's just like, it is a conversation, and this is a transfer of energy, and it is, you're bringing something to their lives that clearly is so impactful and meaningful and important that maybe you didn't realize beforehand. It was just kind of a fun thing, but you get to a point where you become a big part of somebody's life, whether it's your music or your shows or just kind of the energy, and maybe like you said, how you don't even know kind of how their family resonates with what you do and your music, and that they have all these experiences around your music or your band or your shows that might honestly not really have anything to do with you personally. It's their own experiences, but you're such a central component of that, and it is really impactful and really important.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it gets difficult. I think the more we've done into when you're playing bigger rooms, you can't talk to people in that way, or you can't, and
Sure.
it's also important like to always remember to that you're writing music and you're creating for yourself in a way. It's not about like creating something that something wants to hear. Like I don't like it, but like they like it, so I'm gonna put it out. I think it's always remembering that like why you're doing it, the love that you're doing it for, and like where you kind of start and not get lost in that too. That you kind of lose a connection with what you're creating. Because there's so many people around you now that are fans of it or supporting, and you feel that pressure of like I don't want to let them down, so I'm gonna write. I'm gonna create what they want. I think it's very important. Like to just create what you want to create and just let it go. Like whatever happens, happens. But I think that for some reason, like when it's honest and when you're being honest and you're creating it with passion and you're kind of leaving a piece of yourself in that song. There's a connection that when they tell me about like a story, I feel like I also relate to it because I have a connection to the song too. Like I understand where they're coming from as well. So it's also kind of like we're all like fans of the music, including us. Like we're also fans of what's being done because we also relate to it. We've also had like moments with it. We've also like been happy with it. We've been sad with it. So we relate to people as well. That we're all like how this music that is being put out here has affected us. And I think it's always important to remember that. To just remember like that you're like who you're creating for. You're creating for yourself, but just to always be honest and truthful and put a piece of yourself in what you're doing, and like everything is just gonna be fine. Because I think you'll be surprised that people feel the same way that you feel about things. You think that by creating, you're the only one thinking this way or feeling this way, but you create and you put it out, and you find out that it's such a relatable or common feeling that so much of the world shares.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what the team looks like. I mean, I know that you have these 5, you have Luis and Albert now that are kind of part of the live experience, but do you have management? You said you're totally self-releasing, independent distro kid. But do you have a booking agent? Do you have a manager? Kind of what has that been like to kind of add team members and know who's the right fit and where have they kind of fit into your business?
Yeah, like not having like a manager, a booking agent, having Luis kind of be like our tour manager, be like our merch designer, him handling like the websites and social media stuff, helping us out with that. It's a big help. Like we definitely couldn't do this on our own, especially like when it comes to like the managing and the whole like booking things. I remember we tried to book shows before and like we wouldn't get any responses, and then our guy John hits him up and gets a response the next day. And it's like
I want
it's
to
nice
answer
to
that
have
there was a show we had that we didn't have a booking agent, and it was already like a confirmed show. We drove all the way to Arizona, and then they tell us the day before. As we're driving there, we're like maybe 2 hours away from getting there, an hour away. They're like, "Hey, unfortunately, the show tomorrow has to get canceled because like there's no security or someone that could like be at the door or whatever." And we're like, "Can we have someone that we know like do the door thing?" And they're like, "No,
right."
Like unfortunately, like yeah, we had to cancel it." And that was like unfortunate. But with a booking agent, I mean, you have a contract. It's like, okay, like that's on you guys. You guys have to pay up, So yeah, that was just like kind of like a vacation. We still stayed at the Airbnb that we were like gonna be at, but that's the upside of having a booking agent. It's like you have contracts and there's like legal stuff.
Yep. Yeah, those more complicated things can get handled, and you just kind of have like a. But it's hard. It's hard to find. You gotta find people that have your best interests, and it's also you gotta find the right people. You can't just like do it with anybody. You gotta find the right people that to team up with or that. But it's in a weird way, like they kind of find you. You just kind of do your thing, and like you'll attract attention by doing your thing and by having results in your lane. Like, because I think some people just want to have that and they reach out and they kind of get screwed over because they're just kind of like giving whatever to get that teamwork in. But you kind of have to work with the right people and also make sure that they're also doing their part, their end of the job. They're helping you out and they're not just kind of like flaking by or half-assing it. You want people who can get you to do things that you want to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just wanted to add, because I know you said like who is our team. Our team, basically our management is like Cosmic Artists. That were also like our label, but we're just in management with them. Our current booking agency is Ground Control Touring, which is John Chavez. We basically met him at this Pulsar that we're having in LA with Liz, that we mentioned earlier, that we met her through the Echoplex stuff. She invited us out just have like a meeting with her. Then it's up being like a Pulsar with all these like booking agencies and artists and venues and stuff like that. And then that's how we came across with John, though. That's how we ended up meeting John, was just talking to him, hanging out with him, and then him kind of just giving us a little bit of like a rundown of how things work in his department, and then us kind of just getting his email, and then like asking him questions, like bugging him, like, when is a good time to have a management or a manager? And they're like, when you have something to manage.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like cool to get a response from him. And then the pandemic happened, and so like we had to follow with our old booking agents, and then John kind of came in the picture, and that was kind of cool for him to even like remember and reach out to us, because I think that was like very important for us, like that he kind of remembered who we were. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's so cool, and it's a testament to just kind of show that it's for one, showing up in person to events and just never knowing what could happen, and two, just kind of staying in touch with people. That's great that he was just kind of your advisor for a little while, and when the time was right, you guys linked up, and it seems, I mean, since then you've been doing some big tours. You have a show coming up at the Forum with Chicano Batman. Is that your first arena show?
Yeah, and I wanted to also just give a shout out to Jim Smith from The Smell, and Renee from Via Pomona, Golden Voice. Just people like that you kind of come across, and you just they just help you out, and you just kind of it's just a lot. It's crazy. Just those relationships and those, you really can't do this on your own. I think it's just important to give those things. But yeah, like the Forum is crazy. The Forum is like, that's like the Lakers used to play there. Like that's like that's a whole different game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you're coming off of I saw you did the Greek. How was that? I mean, that's another iconic venue in LA.
That was cool to open up for Interpol, because we're like, I don't know if Interpol knows this, but we're big Interpol fans. so that was crazy, just to kind of be like, oh shit, like now you're playing with like not idols in a sense, but just people that you kind of like, you create music because of them. You listen to their music and you're like, I want to create like that, or I want to, like, you're hearing their stuff and you're breaking it down. You're learning from them. They're kind of teaching you. They're kind of your teachers of like, they're giving you lessons on how to write music in a way. So that was crazy of like opening up for them and meeting them, and everything was cool. And just playing another iconic venue. Like it was just great. Yeah.
Right.
I was gonna say that. I'm sure they know it though, because at the House of Blues, I basically told them that like they're like a big inspiration to like the music we write. And honestly, the cool response was like that. He was just like, and you guys are doing it better. that was cool just to hear. I don't know if they were messing around or not, but just hearing that was kind of like, damn, you don't expect to hear something like that from one of the members. Like,
wow.
Yeah, just like walking by them, giving like good set and a fist bump, and you're like, oh shit. Like that's it. That means so much.
Yeah, that was the validation we needed. Like, okay.
That's sick. How did you get that gig, the opening up for Interpol at the Greek?
Yeah, that was just Renee. I think just like people just like you kind of like
throwing our name out there.
Yeah, you just just relationships but also just like working on things and having good communication and just respecting I guess in a way the business side of things, you know, like understanding that this is just people are doing their business, and like understanding how to navigate those things, and just like always being, you know, just kind of like taking the show, I guess, you know, like just kind of like um how do you say it, like you know, just helping out, you know, hey, I need a band to like plug in here, are you guys down? Like, yeah, like, we're down, you know, like, yeah, like let's help each other out.
Cool.
You know, so I feel like, and just kind of being just doing it for a long time. I feel like there's times where like it's just a battle of attrition. You know, you just gotta like hang around. You just hang around, and things just kind of start happening. At times, I feel.
Yeah, like with the Interpol thing too, is like there was a point where we were like, I don't think we're gonna get this show, because they had reached out like maybe 2-3 months prior, or I forgot how many months prior that they had given us, like if we were open to the idea. We're like, yeah, like what? Like call them back right now and tell them yeah. But then they came
right, exactly.
they came the waiting part of it, and we're like, damn, I don't think we're gonna get it. Like we should already start like focusing on doing our tour dates, like our own show.
Right.
Yeah. And then the word came like, yeah, like you guys got like 2 shows with them. We're like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, was it House of Blues, Anaheim, and the Greek? And we're like, oh shit! Like one,
Okay.
like one or the other would
Cool.
have been great, but like 2, like that's insane. Yeah.
Right. That's sick. Yeah, and then how did this the Forum show come to be?
I think the same thing. It's just like they just, you know, like
Really?
you're just kind of on the rise, and you're like, hey, like these guys are reliable. These guys are like are good. And you just kind of like, I recommend them.
Yeah, it's kind of like a resume at this point now. It's like they sold out this show, they did this, they're doing this, and then they're putting out a new album maybe, and that kind of helps like, okay, set you apart from the other like acts. Like he's more, they're more qualified. You know, it's kind of like that. Like it's like a resume. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's just that. It's just like you're gonna build that reputation, you know, and you're kind of working hard at things, and you're taking it seriously, and it's just, I think you just get to a point where you're undeniable. Like you can't deny what we're doing. Like whether you like our music or not, whether you like us or not, for whatever reason, like I don't think you can deny like our work ethic and our determination. You know, so you just gotta keep at it, like to the point where you can't be denied, because it's impossible to deny the work you're doing and your efforts. You know.
I feel like we kind of forced our way in, and I think we did the same thing even in the start, like with the backyard shows. I mean, we were forcing our way in, buying a PA system, happening like we didn't even get paid for it, but like we'll supply it for the show. Like just give us $20 for gas, just to get back home.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the same mindset we've always carried. Is like we're gonna do this no matter what. Like we'll get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like definitely hot. Sorry to cut you off, Ari, but it was kind of it's kind of like
please.
you're forcing your way in. It's kind of like there's a party happening, and you're not invited, but you want to be in that party, so you're like trying to get through the windows, trying to jump a fence, trying to find whatever way to be in this thing when they don't want you in. Yeah, but once you're in, like you're in, and you're good. You know, so definitely, us just breaking those walls down, you know, knocking on doors, just trying to like get this like these goals kind of going, you know.
Yeah, I love it. It's so inspiring. You know, in our industry now that has become so obsessed with social media and TikTok and the numbers, and you know, just everything, that all of these vanity metrics that don't really mean anything and aren't real. To just hear your story of how you built it the old-fashioned way from the ground up, by just like showing up and you know, making things happen and building good relationships and being nice people and respectful of your audience and the people you work with, and you know, the other bands and your friends, and just like building it from backyard concerts to venues, to the Echo, you know, the 250, 300 cap Echo, to then growing that to like bigger and bigger rooms, to the Novo, the Wiltern, and now, you know, the Greek, to now the Forum. And it's just like, it's really cool to just kind of see this ladder that you've climbed in Coachella. You know, it's just like, it is, we hear all these stories about the like overnight successes or the viral hit or the whatever, you know, and it's like, those are so fleeting and flash in the pan moments. And like, you guys have really built this in such a substantial way, and you're building the career in the right way, where this will be sustainable for you because of the groundwork that you laid, the relationships that you built, and the audience that you've now cultivated in a very respectful way, where they are, it's clear they're diehards, and they are really appreciative of everything that you've put out to them, and they're going to be giving that back now tenfold.
Sorry, I don't know. Do you have enough time? Does it cut off at a certain time or no?
No, keep going. Yeah,
I guess I wanted to say it too and add that I think the reason too we treat everyone with respect is like we never know if any of those people that are watching our shows, like going to one of the shows, are one day going to start a band and surpass us, and then we're going to have to open up for them. It's like so many possibilities.
So it's out of fear that you're nice to people.
I'm like,
just kidding.
No, what I'm saying is so much possibilities that could happen. Like something could happen where it's like they're the bigger band. They took your advice. Now they surpassed you. They learned from everything that you kind of didn't do right, or I think that's the thing that we also want to create. Is like a kind of like a lesson. Like anyone can make this. Anyone could. It's possible for anyone. Just have to be determined. I wanted to add though, there was a TikTok I saw yesterday, and there was like a party that was happening, and it had an arrow pointing left and one pointing right, and it's like if people have like more than 1 million, go on the left side. If you have less, go on the right. Like. There was a whole party going on. Like, it's all about like how big you are like on social media. But I wouldn't say we're the biggest in social media, or our numbers aren't as big on Spotify. But definitely like in live, I feel like we surpass like those bands that do have a bigger following. And I think that's the reason too.
Absolutely.
Like we like to treat every band that we get at our shows like we're respect. It's like because we've been there once. We've been like opening for bands that are bigger than us, and I feel like we don't get treated like as respect or as we would like to be treated. It's like we've been there been there once, and I think even when we go on tour, like we want to have like a comfortable like home vibe where if you want to sleep in the green room, like go ahead. Like this is not just our green room, like this is everybody's. Like anything we have, you guys are more than welcome to get. And I think it's like all that.
Yeah, and also I think having experiences of meeting like a hero or meeting someone you look up to, and it's just it's not a good like interaction that kind of just kills everything. This picture you have of this person or these people, it just kind of like they were dicks, they were assholes, and it just kind of bums you out. Right. And I feel like we've experienced that with like with things, and I just feel like it would really suck to give someone that. Maybe we have or it haven't, but I think the least you could do is like not try to be like even if you're having a bad day, at least like muster up some positivity and like some because it just sucks to really like go up to somebody and have an interaction, and it just goes like you leave wishing you never had that interaction. That's a really like shitty feeling that I think we felt with other people, and I think that we always have that in mind. Like somebody that's so passionate about what we're doing, and the least we could do is like have a positive interaction where it's like mutually respectful. And just treat them as human beings. We're all just like, hey, like, nice to meet you, and like have a good day. Like thank you for being here. And not just like not just give them like a smug attitude or like, hey, like can you leave or give me a second? I'm busy. It just feels very like it doesn't cost you to shake someone's hand and say thank you. Just throw it to us. I guess. Yeah.
I think that was a scary part about playing with the Walkman and Interpol. It's like you kind of look up to them, but you don't want them to kind of like mistreat you in some way, and you're kind of like, damn.
I mean, that's why they say never meet your idols, because they're gonna disappoint. They're gonna let you down from what you're expecting. But
fortunately, cool. they were both nice, both those bands, the Walkman and Interpol. Yeah, shout out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can't imagine that anyone would have anything negative to say about you guys. You are very down to earth. Very humble and clearly, very respectful. And it's like the anti-rock star mystique, the anti-rock star personality, which is great. You guys are, set the intention and set the example of what the new rock star can be, and kind of that new energy. I feel like we're turning into like the friendly rock star era, which I love. It's great. So cool. Well, guys, it was so great to connect, and I loved hearing your story, and I appreciate everything you're doing, and congratulations on everything. We're out of time now. I didn't even get to dive deep into Better Late Than Never, but it's a great record. The tones are fantastic. I had all these questions, Henry, to ask you about the chain and just like how you got all these great tones on all these songs, and that'll be for another session. But I've been really digging the record, and I hope to catch a show soon. Maybe I'll swing over to the forum and check you out there, and it'll be cool.
Well, Ari, just want to say thank you again so much for helping us out. Like your help was a lot during those times that we didn't have anything to rely on. So thank you so much. Yeah. Appreciate you having us.
Thank you.
And for the forum, let us know. Yeah. For sure. We got you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah.
I'll meet you in person. Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's do it for sure. Before I let you go, I have one final question that I ask everybody who comes on the show. And that is, what does it mean to you to make it in the new music business?
I actually wrote that down. I was like writing it down because I was thinking about it. Let me see.
Hell yeah.
I think it was just being the first in our family to be involved with anything in the industry is already something to be proud of, especially coming from our background. It's like being the first of your family to go to college. It's a bit scary at first, but once you're in your sophomore year, you know your way around the campus. Except this actually took years for us to know, and we're still learning because there's so many things like to learn about. Besides writing and playing music, which was Jose already said, just the fact that we're able to help out people that have similar dreams by the knowledge we learn, which by the way also includes like your help reading your articles, is something that we are like feeling fortunate to do, like just being able to help out friends.
Yeah, awesome. I feel like there's so much more to do. Like we still want to tour like the world, we still want to play different countries, and there's still so much more to do. I think we're just really grateful to be where we're at, like who we are, the color of our skin, the way we look, and to be able to represent that and do it well and have some kind of success in an art, which is like really hard to do. So many people like they just want to do what we're doing, and they're trying, and we're here doing it. So I think also just always stay true to yourself. I think what I wanted to add too about the whole TikTok thing was that it gets hard because you see like it's hard to be yourself when you see that it's not giving you like a TikTok hit, it's not giving you like 100 million listens, but I feel like you just kind of, I feel happy with the music. I listen to it and I feel that this is me. I feel like I'm not pretending to be somebody else. I feel like I'm going to sleep I'm being the artist that I want to be, regardless of like where that's going to get me, and for it to have gotten us this far is just crazy, to be yourself and create art and be where you're at. It's amazing. Yeah. Thank you everybody. Yeah.
I love it. Jose, Henry, thank you guys so much. That was great.
All right, much love. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Today's episode was edited by Ari Davids with music by Grassroots District and produced by all the great people at Ari's Take.